All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video, and today we're going to be talking about the first problem I've had with my BMW X7 in my ownership. It isn't related to the powertrain or anything like that, so the engine is fine or the transmission is fine. This is more related to like an electrical issue related to the rain sensor. So this is a problem that I did some research, found that a lot of people had had this problem. There was kind of mixed information online on what the cause was or how to fix it, but thankfully I was able to get this fixed a couple months ago for cheaper than what the dealership would typically charge. So I just wanted to make this video to kind of explain the problem, help illustrate what could happen to you guys. So if you do have the problem in the future, you know what's going on and you know how to get it fixed without spending, over $1,000. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future. So first of all, I'm going to set the stage a little bit. So this is a BMW X7. It has around 60,000 miles, and I bought it used about 3 months ago. And I already had a road trip lined up with the car when I got it, so I needed it to work really well. So I was kind of putting it through its paces for the first couple weeks, and when it rained, I turned on the wipers, and it worked for a couple minutes, and then it threw this error that said auto lighting and wiping system malfunction. Now, I wasn't sure if this was just kind of a fluke because I felt like I'd used it before and it was fine. So I scanned for codes, didn't really see anything in particular that led me to think it was a really big problem. Cleared the codes, turned the wipers back on, they worked fine. Then I went on my road trip and we headed south, and this was around the time that the hurricanes were happening late last year. So on our way home, of course, there's like a torrential downpour, turn the wipers back on, and I get this malfunction again. Now, thankfully, the lights still worked, so even though it says wiper and light malfunction, my lights were fine. And I did notice that the wipers worked, but it seemed like the automatic function wasn't working fine. So they were wiping intermittently, but it wasn't as fast as I needed it to sometimes, and sometimes it was way faster than I needed it to. It was just kind of wiping at random speeds. So it was a little annoying, but I was able to get through it. Thankfully, again, that wipers were actually still functioning, just not automatically with, the rain coming and going. So I did some research, and a lot of what people were finding was related to aftermarket windshields being installed or windshields being installed incorrectly. And since I bought this car used literally 2 weeks before, I really didn't have any idea if the windshield had been replaced, but that isn't something that I would do myself. I do a lot of DIYs in this garage, but I'm not really interested in trying to replace a windshield. So brought it to the dealership, hoping that since I had just bought it and it had like a dealer extended warranty, maybe it would cover it. Of course, it ended up not covering it. So they still did the diagnostics for me just to confirm that that was the issue. And that is what they found. They double checked and verified that the windshield was an aftermarket replacement. So at some point, the previous owner had replaced it, and they noticed that the rain sensor wasn't getting a good reading. And the issue seems to come from this little silicone pad that's sandwiched between the rain sensor and the windshield, and that needs to be completely flat so that the rain sensor can see through it clearly. But sometimes when the windshield is replaced, either that pad isn't installed correctly or it's not replaced at all. And so when they put the windshield on top of it, it kind of bunches up and you might have like a crease through it or something that is messing up the rain sensor's ability to see through it. And they actually gave me mine back. So this is what it looked like on my windshield, and they weren't even able to get it off in one piece. So I don't know how a company, if it's Safelite or whatever, could try to maintain this and keep it in one piece and just replace the windshield. They said that's absolutely not how they would replace it. This gets replaced every time. They would not reinstall a windshield without replacing it. But that seems to be a common problem that they run into. So when I explained the problem, they already started kind of looking into that, and they did confirm that that was the issue. Now, the fix for this is to replace the windshield again. So they take the windshield off, replace that pad, and then reinstall the windshield. So it's over $1,000, especially on an X7. The problem is, of course, I didn't want to pay that, so I'm talking to them about different options. And the tech recommended trying to replace just the pad. And my assumption is instead of pulling the windshield to replace it, they went behind the windshield where the rear view mirror is, took that trim off, and then they were able to lower the sensor, scrape the pad off of the windshield, and then replace it with a new one and reinstall the sensor. So that's what made the most sense to me. When I looked at the windshield, I couldn't exactly see where the pad goes. I believe I see where the rain sensor is. It's kind of up top again by where the rearview mirror is, but there's no obvious like circle where that pad is sitting. So they did that somehow. I don't know exactly how, but they did that somehow. And they said, you know, if the issue comes back, bring it back and we'll do the full windshield replacement. But for this, since it was relatively easy, all they did was charge me the diagnostic fee, which was like the 1 hour labor for the inspection and the full whatever, where they check all your tires and brakes and stuff like that, and then the cost of the part. So it ended up being closer to $300 for mine. And the past 3 months, it's been perfectly fine. I've had no other issues, driven through rain multiple times, and the automatic function works perfectly. Now this worked great for me because again, I bought the car used. If you did replace the windshield yourself, then maybe you can go back to the company, whether it's Safelite or whoever that did the replacement, and get them to fix this under warranty. Just make sure that they actually replace that silicone pad as they replace the windshield, because sometimes it seems like they're able to do the calibration and stuff and it works fine. And even in my case, sometimes the wipers worked fine, sometimes they didn't. I don't know exactly what determined why it would work sometimes and not others, but that issue was present regardless. So you very well could have gotten your windshield replaced maybe a month or two ago and it just intermittently happens, but I can pretty much guarantee that this is where the issue is arising from. Now, if you don't have that information, like I didn't, I can't go to any windshield replacement company and get it replaced under warranty. I recommend trying to get your dealership to just replace the pad. I don't know if I would DIY it because again, I can't see exactly where it is, but you know, they basically have to scrape it off of the windshield. You saw it came off in little silicone pieces, and then they reinstall the new one and stick it onto the windshield before they reinstall the sensor. So you definitely could try to DIY, but my recommendation is, you know, pay the $200 or $300. Even if you buy the part yourself, maybe you can bring it to them and just ask them to replace it. And that'll be a lot cheaper than replacing the entire windshield. Also, just for your reference, I'll have the part number to the silicone pad in the video description. This is the one that fits my car, and it does fit some other models as well. But if you want to just double confirm the right one for your car, you can go to your BMW dealership's website or any BMW parts website and navigate to where it is. On mine, I found it under the vehicle electrical system, then go to control units, modules, and sensors. Then there should be a section for the rain, light, solar, and condensation sensor, and you'll see the silicone plate or silicone pad in the list of parts for your vehicle. So that way you can confirm that you're pulling the right part number for your car. But yeah, overall not so bad. I've put almost 5,000 miles on the car now since I bought it, and I will be doing like an initial impressions review video soon, so stick around for that. But thankfully, nothing drivetrain related, just a relatively quick fix to make sure that all of the electrical systems are working the way they should. So hopefully this helps you guys out if you guys are having the same problem that I am. And other than that, I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.